This is the Grapple Rise Show, episode 50, Glen Bratke. Welcome to the Grapple Rise Show. I am your host, Brett Summers, and my guest today is Glen Bratke. He is a first dan Judo Blackbelt. He is a BJJ Blue Belt, and he's most recently ventured into the world of Sambo. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Thank you for taking the time to join us this week, Glen.
No, you're more than welcome. It's great to be here. Great to be here.
Awesome. Well, our first question to every guest who's been on around the first time is, where did martial arts begin for you?
So essentially, I had a schoolboy interest, like most people in the 90s, my age. It was all about Bruce Lee. It was all about Jackie Chan. It was all about WWF at that time.
Oh, yeah.
The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, the Power Trip, all the classic 90s wrestlers. A little bit of 80s, in like highlights shows and stuff, and like throwback sort of episodes, but mainly 90s pro wrestling, to be honest, is what got me into the interest of grappling.
Yeah.
100% that was like my origin
Same
of
with me, don't worry.
interest. Yeah, oh, I heard.
Really?
Yeah, Bruce Lee was like an idol of mine as well. So in terms of general martial arts, like Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, those were the main two guys. Obviously, you have Jet Li, and other great martial artists. Also the guy Tony Jaa, it rings a name. On Buck, Tony Jaa, he's a phenomenal.
But yeah, no, I know the film. Yeah, I know you mean. Yeah.
Ah, Ong Bak is that blew me away that one. So yeah, but then I actually did want to get into grappling as a young, very like when I was in late primary school, before secondary, just before secondary school. But there were no wrestling schools around. I don't know. I grew up in East London. There probably was something, but I remember looking in the yellow pages and there was nothing close. I think it was more Essex bound because I was yeah, city boy in Stratford, East London. Newham was the borough, and there was nothing really around. It was a bit far away, and my parents didn't have a car, unfortunately, so I didn't actually get a chance to do the wrestling I actually wanted to do. I did get taken to a judo class or around that time because my sister's ballet class was at the same community center, but the class wasn't that great. I don't even know what the club doesn't exist anymore. I don't know what the name is.
Yeah.
Not trying to give it a bad name or anything, but it wasn't the best run class. It was like adults mixed with kids. Not that can't work, but yeah, I'll leave it there. I lost interest for some
I
whatever
did.
the reason. Nothing against judo because obviously I'm now a judoka. That's the irony.
Yeah.
Nothing against judo at all. But that particular club, for whatever reason, there was several reasons. I don't think it's worth exploring it really. But yeah, I just dropped out quite quickly. It wasn't the greatest environment from my memory. It was a long time ago, obviously. I'm 35 now, and I was about 6 or 7 or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's a long, long time ago. And then I continued being very interested in pro wrestling, but basically a lifelong fan, to be honest. I'll be honest. I think I lost a bit of interest. I think so after the what's the John Cena era, the I don't want to talk too much about pro wrestling, but the PG era or the
Oh yeah.
no
So yeah.
Attitude. So after the
Oh
Attitude
yeah.
era,
Actually, there was ruthless aggression,
Ruthless
wasn't it? Yeah. And then,
Aggression. Ruthless Aggression. I watched some of that because I did find John Cena quite interesting. His initial arc was really interesting. And then once it was just the John Cena plus, I can't remember, a few others.
yeah.
And a lot of the top dogs were kind of in and out of the picture, like the old school Attitude Era guys. Lost interest kind of for a while, like when
Mm.
Sheamus came in and that kind of era. And I wasn't that
Mm.
interested, but a few years later I got back in with I'm trying to think when maybe late 2000s and early 2010 I started looking at it again. So I was in and out, and then
Yeah.
especially once TNA went downhill because that was my main fix of pro wrestling. Um, because yeah, WWE got boring when it became WWE. It became very the PG product, and
Yeah.
it was not what I remember. So I went to TNA, which was the alternative at the time, and that was like, yeah, this is different. This is more like what I'm used to. Because it gave me more like WCW vibes. And
Yeah.
like TNA, I was just like, wow, hooked on it. Anyway, so I was always
Yeah.
wrestling with my mates at school. That's what my grappling was at the time. It was literally wrestling with my pro wrestling with my mates. I did a bit of karate and a tiny bit of Korean martial art called, it's not Taekwondo, it was called Hwamado. It was basically like a Korean version of karate. A little bit here and there. Nothing. I was always into sports though, so I was always
Yeah.
doing badminton, volleyball, a bit of everything, honestly. Bit of athletics, everything. I was always an athletic person and into sports, fortunately. And then eventually I went to university when I was 28, when I was 28. Obviously the academic year's in September. And I started training judo at the university club. And I was like, "Oh, I need to do a martial art. I've waited
Which
until
university was that?
Middlesex, yeah, sorry, Middlesex
Oh, yeah, sorry.
University. Yeah, Middlesex
Oh, cool.
University. We have a really, really good coach. His name's Joe Doherty. I'm sure there's people out there who's probably going to know who that is.
Mm.
A veteran of veterans. I think he was definitely in the national squad, and then he just missed out on the Olympic squad, or was on the border of it, but he had some injuries. So he was very, very good. He knows a lot of the medalists. He trained with a lot of people who did become medalists, Davy Starbrook and other people like that. Chris Bowles, I'm sure he probably knows Chris Bowles. He's the head of Tonbridge Judo Club. Anyway, so I just started as a white belt, complete beginner, but I just got hooked. I got seriously hooked on that. It's just like it was like the drug that I never was.
What was it about it when you went in? What was it that grabbed you? Because I say, from your sort of, you push and pull WWE in the playground days to suddenly now you're on a mat, you got someone there in front of you. What was it that sort of, what was that
Um,
bit that you think, yeah, this is for me?
um, hmm. Definitely the discipline. There was like an element of discipline in the way a judo class is run, especially by my coach. The way he carried it's not like the way the coach carried himself. The way my coach carried, there was something that felt untangible to describe. It's just his silent confidence and how clear his instruction was, and there's emotion behind his words, but not too emotional. There was this what was the word? There was a his disposition was just something different, and different to even the other martial art coaches. So I thought, oh, why does this feel a bit different than my other experiences? And once I understood the basic principles of judo, so the balance, the footwork, I just started seeing how articulate it was, how it was a form of education. And then when I read more into it, that's exactly what Kano, the founder, was intending with his transformation of jujitsu arts into his new art of judo. His vision of the Japanese jiu-jitsu, basically, which it was known as Kano Jiu-Jitsu actually, but then they gave it a different name. I guess he wanted it not to be about him, about the philosophy of judo, which is yeah, it's just a beautiful thing as well, intellectually as well as physically. But it was actually just honestly a way to master my body, like my mind and my body in unison. And it sounds really cheesy and corny, like, oh, the mind and body unity. It's like yin yang, but it really is. And there is a certain amount of zen that you get with something like judo. And I don't know. I have ADHD, so I only diagnosed this year. I have ADHD, and there's something about, or ADD. I'm more the inattentive, not the hyperactive. But anyway, there's something about the way your mind works when you do judo that it just connected to me naturally. I can't really, it's hard. This is why it's quite hard to answer your question directly in a
No,
way,
no,
because
okay. No. I mean, I did an episode, or way back, I think it's about episode 10 on here, and it was just me on there, but I was going through, because I'm a school teacher by day and I specialize with SEN, and a lot of the kids have got autism, ADHD, and
yeah,
ADD, all the other new ones that they keep finding in between that. But it
yeah.
was, there's been so many case studies of how, like, for some reason, martial arts and judo, jiu-jitsu, and sort of grappling in general has been something that somehow breaks through those walls of kids that couldn't in a classroom maybe doesn't work, but suddenly when they're in like a dojo or a gym, suddenly, like you say, something grabs them. There's an attention, there's a structure that works, and it just seems to,
Mm.
people flourish in that environment. And again, it sounds good. Not plug my old episode there, but no, it sounds good as well. Like you say,
Wow.
that's something you've identified as well. How did you find a change in yourself though? Maybe from like, because if you're at university studying and all the things that go along with that, I've been to university, and then and suddenly you got like you've got your dojo and you're practicing. Did you find like a different mindset there compared to maybe in the library or in the study room type thing?
Yeah,
Maybe other places you might go.
it was extremely educational from a physical standpoint, and that is one of Kano's principles. It's the most efficient form of physical education, which I would argue it is actually. And I don't want to go too much into the philosophy, but people can read his memoirs. One of them is called Mind Over Muscle, which is actually on my shelf there. Yeah, his memoirs explains the philosophy. It's it's the it 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 helped me focus my attention in a way that I hadn't experienced before. I think that's probably getting closer to hit the nail on the head for me because in a classroom environment, if the content isn't doesn't hold my attention, if it's not interesting enough to me personally, I drift, my attention drifts like a bloody car on a frozen lake. So um yeah, it
Similarly,
held my attention very, very much so. And I felt like I was learning so rapidly. And within a few weeks and months, I was doing uh, foot sweeps on more advanced players. Not like every time, but like even my coach was like, wow. And that's just because I was hyper focusing on it. It allowed me to hyper
yeah.
focus in a way that I loved as well. And like I said, I've always been into sports and athletics. So I also had enough coordination to get to grips fairly fast, and it just became addictive because of the learning is addictive. When you enjoy learning something, it's addictive. So I finally found something I actually really love to learn, and I always enjoyed learning sports in general. But the thing about judo and probably just grappling in general, to be honest, is the direct feedback. It's like direct, instant feedback. Oh, my balance has gone there. Oh, he grabbed my leg. Now I'm this way or that way, and everything spatially. Like it's extremely stimulating in general. Which for ADHD, we're always seeking dopamine because we're naturally lower in dopamine. So yeah, I
No,
think
that's
that's
good.
it.
So when did it become then? So you're at university, obviously you're studying there. That's your priority. You want to get your degree and move on to whatever job comes from that. But with the judo, like say you're getting addicted to it, you're getting good at it as well, and you're developing. When did that become more than just I don't know, like what I do on a Wednesday night type thing? When did it become like actually this could be something I need to
Mm.
give this a bit more of my attention. I mean, imagine you're starting to sort of move up the belts as it's going along as well from your time at uni. When did it become rather than just, oh, I do that on a Wednesday to stay fit and kick off some
Yeah,
steam to actually,
yeah.
yeah, this could be a career path or
Yeah, so I was doing it. The university club was only twice a week. My coach also had another, so that was Middlesex. He also ran another university club called University of London, and that was more central near Tottenham Court Road YMCA. It's now more or less closed, or whether they moved somewhere else.
yeah.
Anyway, so then I started training in those sessions, which I believe both were on different days. I think it was a Friday and a Sunday. So eventually I started doing, when I got really into it and was training for like my first competitions, I was doing shoot Monday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday or something like that. So 4 times a week. Um, and yeah, even though I had to obviously pay extra money for the sessions and all that stuff, and being a student's hard, I just was like, I was just too invested quite quickly. I don't know, and I had an element of success that academically I had success, obviously beforehand, and in sports, I never did an individual, apart from badminton and maybe a couple others. There wasn't many individual sports where I competed, and I was like, I know I can compete here. And I think after my first competition, I won my first match, lost the other two. I was undersized because I was a skinny little thing. I was like 75, 76 kilograms in the under 81 division because I just did whatever was naturally my weight closest to my weight at the time.
Yeah.
And then I was fighting guys cutting to 81. I could just feel the strength difference. And I was like, no, I just hit the gym, put on the muscle, ate like crazy. I've always had a crazy fast metabolism, which is why originally for the British National Universities, the Kyo grade, the first university tournament I was going to do, I was considering dropping to 73, but I was like, no, no, I'm way too tall. I'm almost 6'2". I was like, I'm way too tall for 73. Um, I guess I think it's when I was, okay, so basically, I had my first tournament in November 2019. Then there was COVID. That sucked because I got in the best shape of my life. I was about 79-ish or 80. Lean. I was like 7%, 10% body fat. I was like a machine. I just because I was like, I'm gonna win this next one after
Yeah.
not getting the bronze. I just missed out on the bronze match by like one match or something. And I've never got a medal in my life for an individual sport. So like that was like my main goal. And then fast forward May 2022, fast forward, I've done obviously some more judo. I'm now an orange belt. I finally get to do my second competition. My first one, I was only a red belt, and I win it. It was in Birmingham. It was some memorial charity event for a judoka called Jamie McDonald Memorial Championship. And my uncle was there because he lives not too far from Walsall. He lives in Erdington, Birmingham, so he was able to drive me and my friend there. It was great. I won all my matches. I think it was like a round robin of five or something. I won every single one. I got like I think it was a hold down, a throw, like everything. Arm lock. I got ippons from in all different ways, which is nice because I was like, I'm
Yeah.
well rounded. You know, I knew I was well rounded because I had a good coach. I had a really good coach, two good university clubs, strong players. And I was just, and they were, some of the guys were my age or older. So it wasn't even, I was just like smashing some old geezers. They were like some young, some old, same age as
Yeah.
me. And then, yeah, when I got that first gold medal, it was my first medal when it was a gold medal. And I was like, I like this. And then from that point onwards, I actually went unbeaten for an entire year until the university championships where I lost the quarterfinal and then I lost the semi-final for the bronze. So just the match before the bronze.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was out of shape. I was very, very in shape. I was probably one of the most in shape athletes. My experience level wasn't there. I just made some poor decisions tactically. And unfortunately, my coach couldn't be there. He had some personal family matters, so I didn't really have the tactical advantages I could have had. But yeah, and then after losing the nationals, because obviously the goal was to get one, I just was like hungry to just improve even more. Because I trained so hard for that nationals, physically, especially in extra conditioning. But it was great because although I lost, it gave me that mentality and that the fact that I was willing to sacrifice a lot of my personal life to prepare the best I could, even at it was, I was literally like, I had less than a year collective experience because COVID, I had a few months before COVID. Bam, March comes, the month of my second competition was literally the time they locked everything down. And I kept training right until that Friday, that Thursday or Friday, the weekend, the tournament was the Sunday. I knew in my mind it was going to be cancelled, but I kept training. I still did that last session. So it was more of that as the mentality I developed as well as the results. I mean, I had great results
That
as an
that can be
athlete,
just as important,
but
though, can't it? I mean, a lot of people on this show and on other things as well. A lot of the mental battle, often with yourself, can be the biggest battle in martial arts. And I mean, how did you find that as well? Because imagine you're putting all this training in, but you've still got like where's my assignment? This bit of coursework's due and whatever going on as well. So it can be hard enough anyway at university without then having to do
yeah.
all that as well. How was that balance, especially during COVID? I imagine that was crazy times.
It was chaotic. I'm not gonna lie. Very, very chaotic. It was just chaotic, I think, for everyone in that time, let's be honest. That was a very difficult time for everybody. But it did inspire me once I had my freedom back, sort of in a way. I hit the ground running. I just knew I was like, as soon as they open the doors to the dojos, to the gym, whatever, I'm hitting the ground, and that's what I did. And it allowed me to go on that sort of massive run in an amateur sense. And it was a bit uncanny because I've always had spotty success when it comes to sports because I never stuck to one sport consistently. I was always in and out, more of a casual enjoyer of sports. I was still very
Yeah,
intense. I was still very competitive, but I didn't have this absolute must win. I just didn't have this win ethic. I think it's maybe because of how I was raised or the friends or how I had, whatever it was, a bit nerdy as well, to be honest. I was completely nerd. I was like into video games and pro wrestling and more watching sports. I did do sports, but I enjoyed watching people win. I didn't care about my own like particular sports performance until because I just didn't have that emotional connection, especially with team sports like football. There was too many egos. Whenever I did join a football club, it was just I wasn't for me. The type of kid I was like, no, no, no. I like football. I enjoyed any sport, but the politics and the egos in certain environments wasn't for me. Once I had my first individual success, but then I also realized my success isn't just me, it's my coach, it's my teammates. And, I still had this team ethic, regardless of it being
yeah,
individual sport. I tried to keep my ego in check, which I think worked well because in the long run, I haven't had any major injuries. I think it is because of the way I train, the way I approach things. Generally speaking, it's a bit of luck as well, of course, not getting injured. But getting back to it, yeah, once I had that initial run of success, I was like, this, I know I can go somewhere with this. And I think it was as soon as I entered the British Nationals, even that was the Kia grade, it's still the fact that I was like one match away from a national, medal match, and then I was like, I need to get a black belt in this because like, look at the work I'm putting in. Like, look at my progress. A lot of these people who are like orange, green, blue who were in my bracket, whether they've been doing it since they were either kids and dropped off, and they have like years and years and years and years and years of experience. Most of these guys, some of them are like me, they pick it up at university. But I had to be an orange belt was the minimum grade for that comp. So I just got the grade like a weeks before the tournament. So I was realistically a good yellow belt, I would say, probably more so than an orange, right? Whenever you get your new belt, you're not magically that next level on the next day. You're at the bottom of the pond. You're a small fish in a bigger pond. So yeah, I just realized, look at the progress I've made in this amount of time, and then the sky's the limit in a sense. Apart from I am starting it quite okay. I started the art at the age of like essentially 29, so a bit late starter, but that didn't deter me too much. And I just honestly, it was just like, this is my life. My lifestyle changed. It changed my lifestyle. And I think that's part of why I was also addicted to it and why it was the art for me, the sport for me,
yeah.
the lifestyle, the people that surrounded me, people that led me, the senior players, the coaches. They just set such a good example. They just rubbed off on me. It's like, there's that saying, you're like the five people who you're around the most. And literally, like, I didn't have much of a social life. I was just around judo players like 90% of the time. And it over the course of how many years it is now, 5 or 6 years, it's transformed me as a person and it's transformed my lifestyle. And I don't really drink. The first time I had a drink in a year or two was after the British Sambo. Just because my coaches both bought me a drink and I had to take it from this was from them, so I had to have
It's
it. And
from the
the
coach. You have to
and
follow the coach.
The Manchester United game was on, and we're all Manchester United fans. I know that's going to offend people, but whatever, I don't care. we, it's going to offend a lot of people, I know. But because we're none of us are from Manchester, obviously. But anyway, we we I do support West Ham though because I'm from Newham, so I
Well,
do
that's
support.
right.
So yeah, I do actually have loyalty to where I come from as well. Anyway, yeah, transformed my lifestyle. So yeah, that
What's
that's
it like
basically.
then? So you're established now. You've been training. You're in the shape. You're getting the lifestyle together. Now you're an orange belt. I mean, now obviously you're a first down black belt, maybe at the top end of that, with maybe more coming in the future, hopefully. And but what was that journey like then? What were the differences did you find going, through the belts? Because there's always that step thing. There's the jiu-jitsu sort of social myth of, like once you get a blue belt, you don't see them again and things like that. What's the sort of judo wise, like is there's that
Yeah,
sort of thing of, like, there must like in for
yeah.
judo, what were those skills? What needed to be learned as you moved up? What were the challenges for you as you sort of progressed through?
Mm. Yeah, the typical blue belt blues they call it, I think in
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu. Something like yeah, they just
I'm still
once you get
stuck
your
in it.
yeah, once
I'm
you get
still
your blue
stuck in it.
belt, you just
But I got
disappear.
mine. I got mine the month before COVID happened, so that was 2 years straight away. And then I came. Then when it came back, I hurt my knee, and that was nearly 2 years as well. So it's
Ah,
just been
it's
like,
the
yeah,
curse, isn't
like
it?
2026. If I haven't got it by the end of 2026, I'll go mad, and I'm just, I don't know,
It will come
quite powerful.
eventually. It will come.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to the judo though, hmm. I
Was there
think there
was there a
is
particular one maybe that there was a step up that was a bit more trickier? Maybe you think now maybe a
yeah.
couple of them you sort of
Oh
shot through
yeah,
and it was
yeah.
like oh or
Yeah,
something
no,
like that maybe.
there were definitely some glass ceilings, and it wasn't necessarily just the grades. Some of the grades were trickier because the way they do it now, you do a syllabus, and only in brown belt first Q, you need to do competition to get that Dan grade. Whereas earlier systems, because I talk to people, not my not in my the system I had to
Yeah,
be under, the earliest grading systems, you actually still had to compete against other belts or higher belts to get that next grade, which I would have preferred. I like that. I like that trial bar fire. I like that even at the Q grades, prove you're worthy of the next grade. You should be able to
yeah,
outperform, outwit whoever it is. I think that's good, trial by fire. Anyway, because of the modern grading system, I think they want to make it more accessible. You just have to be able to perform the techniques competently a set. So it's always a set of pin, groundwork, and throws and sweeps. Um, but I remember green belt being particularly hard because that's the syllabus where you learn all the one-legged techniques. So one-legged throws being uchimata, haragoshi, hanigoshi, which is transferring your weight and pivoting while picking up a person, and then yeah,
and then sweeping the leg
transferring
out
onto
and then
one
sort of
leg, and
yeah,
that leg or hip has to extend. It requires a lot of coordination, and I almost hurt myself learning some of these throws. And I'm probably not the only one. If I say green belts it was a challenging from orange to green was a challenging transition. I think a lot of judoka out there probably
I
going to
remember. I
relate.
remember when I did jiu-jitsu. Actually, I'm judo, so you just opened up a memory from my teenage years. I think it was Harry and Hanny. For some reason, I still think now the
Hmm.
person whoever showed me first got them the wrong way round, and then I remembered it that way, the wrong way round for like
Right.
years. And yeah, that was like a pain in the ass. Because they go, no, that one. And I go, that is it. And they go, no, it's that one. And yeah, I think it was. I still think it
Yeah.
was like one of those first times I got shown it. Someone got them wrong, and then I've remembered that, and then just got muddled up forever. But yeah, sorry, carry on. I know what you mean
That's
now.
all right.
You just unlocked a memory of my teenage years there.
No, that I can see that happening. Yeah, also you had to learn three or four variations of a Juji rollover. Some of the couple of them were straightforward, but a couple other ones were very tricky. And I think I'm slightly potentially dyspraxic, to be honest. Only slightly, there's certain movements that I just my brain's like and I have to drill it like 100 times like to get it ingrained. Other movements I'm like straight away, it's natural.
Yeah.
So I think I have a slight yeah, because I had a learning assessment, and the reason I was suspected for ADHD because my working memory is like really low, really low. So, and also my spatial one only in the and my spatial awareness in certain situations and certain learning situations is a bit less than average, maybe, or lower than it should be. But apart from that, academically, like learning wise, I was actually on the very like a much higher end. So
Yeah.
it's like everyone. Everyone has just certain things that they're like, oh God, this is
Definitely.
hard.
Oh yeah.
Hard. It doesn't matter who it is actually. There's always someone. Even my coaches are like, I'm. I don't know if I can swear. I'll probably avoid swearing.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
that's right.
I'm shy at that technique. They'll all say it. Even the best coaches will be like, "I'm shy at that technique. I don't do that technique. This is my technique,"
That's
and I
it. Well,
totally get that. Yeah,
that's
I
part of the
totally get.
learning, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, yeah,
It's just like
yeah.
for years, like it was always. I mean, part of the reason I fell out with judo in my later teen years is because I got to sort of 15, 16, and I found other things to do, shall we say, at
As you
that
do,
age,
as you
as
do.
you do.
Yeah.
But also, it became that kind of like, like when someone would just show you the same throw every week, and it was just kind of like,
Ah,
okay, I'm not getting this. I'm probably not going to get this. And in
yeah.
those days, or where I was anyway, I don't remember there being. Nowadays, there seems to be a lot more. Or try it this way, or drop your knee this way, or pull them toward. There seems to be a bit more. You can adapt. The adaptation thing is a lot more now, rather than I think
That's
in those
good.
days it was like this is
Oh,
how it's done. If you can't
the
do it,
only way. There's only one way to
yeah.
do it. Yeah, that's no,
And
no,
in the
no,
end, it
no.
was like, well, I'm never going to do that, so I'm never going to progress because I can't do that one bit. I've done all the rest, but that's the bit I can't do. So yeah, see you later then.
Mm,
Because and
mm.
I think martial arts in general might have lost a lot of people like that over the years. But
Oh, absolutely. Like the
yeah,
pedagogy, the method of teaching is really important. The mindset and the pedagogy, the like the how well the teacher understands the art of teaching itself, that's a whole different thing. And you're a teacher, so you know this.
yeah.
You know this very
That's the
well.
thing. It's all
It's not,
about adaptation to me. I mean, that's what I
yeah.
say. I especially with SEN. So I still teach the GCSE English and stuff, but I'm teaching it to people who can't get it the normal way. So I have to spin it around and whatever, almost
Yeah.
sort of bit Dick Van Dyke some days. I feel like just trying to make it entertaining and make that and get them to understand why they need to study Macbeth and Shakespeare. It's really old, yeah, I know, but it's going to be fun.
There's many ways to get it across, exactly. But yeah, going back to it, is green belt because of the I'll just call them more advanced throws. It's gonna sound like biased or oh, that's not true. Uchimata's bloody hard. I don't care who you are. I still struggle. It's one of my throws, the throws I should be doing. I am trying to get better, improve at. It's still bloody hard. My Uchimata is still not good. Not relatively it's terrible, you know what I mean? Someone will see me who's not a judoka or whatever or a lower grade, like I'll do an Uchima. Oh no, that's not bad. And then I'll be like, oh, you watch how it's actually done. What relative to the guys who master this technique, yeah, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Anyway, enough
But you did it though.
self-deprecation.
You got to the end. You've done it. You
Yeah,
nailed your
yeah,
green.
exactly. Anyway, done the green. Blue was actually generally all right because there was a lot of sacrifice. For some reason, they focused on so all the syllabuses are just parts of the Gokyos. Obviously, they're like sections of the sets of techniques that you have to do for your theory and stuff in Dan grades. And anyway, this blue belt had a particular set of like sacrifice for us, and that's just natural to me because it's kind of like wrestling, right? You come right around that and you just drop and it's just
Yeah,
natural. I learned those quickly. Like a lot of them, I just learned like that. There were a few sweeps in there. Just had to practice a lot. And then in the blue belt, you had to start doing kata, which is that I didn't like, but you had to do certain kata
that was
techniques.
I didn't like.
That was a bit annoying, but it wasn't too bad. But you had to, there was a lot to the blue belt. I remember there was like, it was more thorough. You had to show some combinations, which is good. You had to show like your understanding of how the techniques work together. That took a bit of a while, but to be honest, the actual syllabus of Blue Belt itself wasn't really too difficult. I was not focusing on green to blue. Once I got my green, I don't know why I really wanted my green, but I don't know. I just was orange belt for like almost a year or something. But
Yeah,
once I got my green, I stayed green for almost a year again, or at least 6, 7, whatever months. And then when I got my blue, I took a long time. I took like a year and a half or something to get my brown because I knew once you enter a brown belt, then you start competing with the black belts in a different way. It's like a clear because all the tournaments are like brown and black. There's only a few tournaments that are like, nope, you have to be downgrade and above. We don't want any
yeah.
first cues because they want to give them the opportunity to get their points competition before downgrade. So that's why I took a while to get to brown. I even entered the English Open as a blue belt because that was the minimum entry. I entered the English Open, the level 4 rank, as a blue belt, and I won a match. To be fair, and they were like, "Where's your points card?" I'm like, "I'm second queue in blue belt." Oh, okay. the way I fought, they assumed I was a first or downgrade. So I didn't rush. I didn't rush getting to brown belt. My progress to judo downgrade is fast. It's like 5 years basically when you actually add up the time, not including the gaps in COVID. It's something only like 5 years or something. But I I just realized I don't care about after green belt. I was like, I don't really care about the belts right now. I want to get better because also in
Yeah,
competition, things started to get harder. Like after blue belt, I did still have a lot of success at blue belt. I'll be honest. I won pretty much everything apart from Bucks. Yeah, apart from the university nationals and entering like level fours and stuff like that, which I shouldn't do, but I just wanted to test the waters. Those are the only times I really lost, to be honest. And then all the other blue and green and blue belt competitions, I was winning. To be honest, I got like loads of gold medals. I think I lost one. Actually, no, I lost one as a green belt to in some Essex competitions, so North NHC North Home Counties Kia grade to a really good young Moldovan. I was losing to like these teenage Moldovans and Eastern European kids who clearly are going to be killers. Like, you know what I mean? They're going to
yeah.
be,
They've all got Olympic gold since, you know. It's those sorts of guys that come through,
they're
isn't it?
going to
Yeah,
be good. They're going to be like in the English squad if they stay in this country and
yeah,
keep doing what they're doing. Anyway, yeah. So I lost a couple of times here and there, but I was still pretty much dominating. Pretty much, yeah. And then when I hit that, and I didn't rush it because I just wanted to improve my judo, and I knew by the time I get to brown belt, I have to be a certain level. Otherwise, I'm going to be brown belt for a long time. So I put in the work. I put in the work beforehand, before entering
I
the,
like it. I like it.
the
Yeah,
gauntlet. Before entering the gauntlet, it's like a video game where you level up your character because you know the final boss is going to be a
gonna
son of
be
a
killing you.
bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's basically what I did. I got all my experience, competition and training, and then I went into brown belt. And that's the funny thing. As soon as I got my brown belt, as soon as I got my brown belt, I literally went to a grading 2 weeks later in the Budokai, which is the oldest dojo in Europe, martial arts dojo, period. And oh no, sorry, 2 weeks after my brown belt, I went to the Kent grading, which was in Dartford Judo Club, which used to be the old Center of Excellence. Now it's in Warsaw.
hmm,
And I got 10 points because I got one ippon, one loss. So I didn't get to do the lineup because you had to win both matches for the lineup. But then in someone
yeah,
else's lineup, I also beat them. So I got 20 points or something. So I was like, that's not bad. I wanted to obviously do the lineup. I wasn't far off it. And then I was, oh man, I wanted to just do the lineup and basically have my downgrade. Obviously, you have to wait. You have to be a brown belt for a whole year, regardless if you do your lineup.
hmm,
You gotta do the theory. But the lineup is what I think in everyone's heart is like now I'm a downgrade because that's like the best way. That's the best way. That's the most memorable way to get a black belt is to beat five guys back to back, right? So then 2 weeks after that, or no, a week, I think it was literally the next weekend or the week after, I can't remember, in the same month. And then I did the Budokai lineup, downgrading. And then I beat the first two guys. I was like, okay, okay. And I threw like my best Haragoshi one of the best Haragoshis I've ever thrown in my life in the second round of and then I got that which earned the lineup. And then I was like, today might be my day. It was just an amazing throw. And I was like, okay, okay. Wow, it's coming together. And then I had a really tough lineup, guys who are a bit bigger, not much bigger, but they're heavier, a bit heavier, strong guys. And I pinned a guy. I pinned him for 19 seconds and he broke the hold on the 20th second. So then I had to keep fighting him because you
keep
need an
going.
ippon. Then I had to get him to the ground again. I didn't score because he's so damn strong. I just managed to trip him with like a sweep or something. Then roll him, then pin him again, but then it had to be 10 because it has to be minimum of 10 for Wazari. So I pinned the guy for essentially 29 seconds. I got up and had to fight my final guy. So I'm getting up and the final guy is coming on the mat. I have it all on like camera, so it's amazing. I'm like this and I bow with my hands behind my head because I'm so exhausted. And he almost threw me like two or three times. I literally getting up on my knees. People are clapping because I'm like I'm trying to stand up, but I'm gassed. I'm done. I'm done. And then I'm in my mind. I go, I have one attack left. It either works and I get it's gonna throw him, or he's gonna counter throw me and I lose. But I'm just gonna go out on my shield. And I literally
Yeah,
I did a hopping in. So I pretended I was gonna do a traditional grip. and he tried to grip me. I parried his grip, went onto the opposite side, lapel and sleeve, jumped in with a hopping Osoto. He blocked it partially, but I already had my head past his shoulder, and I was like, "No, you son of a bitch!"
Yes.
Ah! I did this battle cry, and I kept hopping, and he blocked it, but I just hopped, hop, drive, 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 and then he went down like a tree, boom, and then I just was on my knees, and I was like, literally like Braveheart. I was like, ah! It was like out of a movie. It was ridiculous. I have it on my on my
Awesome.
face. I should upload it to my Instagram, but I couldn't be. I uploaded it to my judo group because that's who I want to share it with. You know, my judo
Yeah.
family, the people I train with. I don't really care about. Oh, look at me! I got my lineup, and it was whatever. I probably should. It was hilarious to me. So I probably should upload it. It's just hilarious. Like it's and everyone's like, oh. So yeah, that was a memory. Wow, in the Budokai. And then since then, I was like. I gotta do this for life. That was like my second epiphany. Like,
Yeah.
because I knew I was gonna get the black belt once I started getting competition points, weeks after being a brown belt. Yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can compete here. I can compete. It might take me a while. And then, when I just had a really, really good day, and then I had that one last battle, and I literally channeled my inner samurai. Like Bushido, it was Bushido. I was like, okay, like do or die mentality. And then that realization was like, oh man, I love this even more now. So, yeah, amazing, amazing.
Oh, wow. So where
Yeah.
does it come from there for you then? So you climb the mountain. What happens next?
To be honest, I was actually cross training since 2022 January. I was cross training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with judo anyway, which is why my groundwork in judo is pretty good, probably slightly above average, especially from the bottom. From the top, it's like I'm okay. I should be better at pinning, to be honest. But that the jiu-jitsu, the BJJ, it's given me. I got a lot of bottom submissions in judo matches actually, especially triangles. Not so much at black belt. People kind of wise to it, but occasionally, trap people in Sangaku Jimmy, so the triangles, the arm bars from the bottom, sweeps, mainly sweeps from the bottom, loads of sweeps. So I do want to go back to Jiu-Jitsu one. I need to get my purple now that I have the black in judo because I wrote that down. I wrote that down in journals, black in judo by 2025 or something like that. And now I think by the end of 2026, I want my Jiu-Jitsu purple belt. And eventually, I want my black belt in Jiu-Jitsu too, because there's Ray Stevens. He's an Olympic silver and European silver medalist, one of our all-time greats in judo. He's also a black belt in BJJ, and he gave Roger Gracie his judo black belt, and Roger Gracie gave Ray Stevens his jiu-jitsu black belt. So I'm
That's
like, I,
nice.
I want the double black belt. I want that. That to me, it's just like jiu-jitsu's awesome in all its forms. In like judo, BJJ, Japanese jiu-jitsu. I want the black belt in all the forms of jiu-jitsu. It's just cool. It's unarmed combat. It's got such an amazing lineage and history, and all of the forms have amazing.
100%. Well, how did you find going into the BJJ? Was there anything that you weren't? Obviously, you've come in with a deep knowledge of judo, and a lot of it is very similar. But again, there are some things that aren't quite the same. Were there any bits that sort of caught you off guard or surprised you, or thought, oh, I didn't think of that. Actually, that might be a bit different. Or
Yeah. Well, the first thing I liked about jujitsu and all other forms of grappling, to be honest, is the fact that I can touch the legs. And when people told me, oh, judo you used to be able to touch the legs, because I was so new to judo and I didn't watch much of the older style of judo, I was like, what? Huh? You can touch the legs? And they're like, yeah, yeah. And then I started watching videos of old school judo, and I was like, holy crap, whoa, wow, what is this? And then when I saw jujitsu, went to the jujitsu classes, and I knew BJJ from UFC, and that I forgot to even mention about my origin story. Once I was around 19 or 20, I found MMA, UFC on some channel, some cable channel, and I just watched the crap out of that. That's when I became more interested in MMA than pro wrestling. and MMA
Yeah.
took over my interest in pro wrestling, generally speaking. Still like dabbling in pro wrestling to this day for
Yeah.
entertainment, but yeah, that in terms of my interest in martial arts, that MMA was like, and then obviously there was no MMA club in university, so judo was the next thing, and I knew judo is used in MMA. I knew it was similar to BJJ, and then once I loved judo, I was like, no, I still want to do BJJ because BJJ is has this massive lineage in MMA. So I was
Mm.
like, yeah, I need to learn BJJ, and the fact that I could grab legs, ankle pick, and basically BJJ wrestling is the main thing I took away from it. And I realized I love wrestling too, especially when I took off the gi for the first time and did no gi. I was like, whoa. And I had to compete in no gi after that. Even that we only trained no gi twice a week and we did jujitsu like gi jujitsu 2 times a day, like Monday to Saturday or something stupid like that. That was like a gi focused school. Even that we only did 2 days a week, I still entered that same year, September. I entered ADCC UK novice championships, and not masters because I wasn't old enough for masters at the time. Um, Under 76 kilograms, and I got bronze, and I was like, that was amazing. And I went all the way to Birmingham by myself with a hotel. My relatives were away at the time; they couldn't be there. But yeah, and then I was like, oh my God, I love wrestling too, and submission wrestling, and yeah, and to be honest, I did enjoy Nogi a lot, probably the most because it's like a constant fight. It just doesn't stop. It's fast, it's dynamic, it's boom, 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 boom. It's static sometimes,
It's a
but
bit lighter as well, isn't it?
there's
Without
just
the
no
gi on
stop.
as well. So,
There's just no stop and start. And because I did quite a few judo competitions, I do like this element of stop and start. And I started to get frustrated when they stopped my groundwork too much in judo. Like they really like some matches I
you
actually
don't get along anymore at all now, do you? Once you get in.
no. Some matches I would say I have lost because the opportunity wasn't given when it should have been given to continue groundwork. And I had positions that were lit very high percentage, like to end up in a submission. And then it's just like, am I not allowed to do the ground part of judo? It's like it's still judo, like Anyway, it is what it is. It's the rules. So. But I think the reason I stayed with judo is I had to get my black belt. I can't
Yeah.
start a journey like and invest what I invested in and not get a black belt. And two, once I got the black belt, I wanted a national medal, and luckily I was able to do that this year in the Northern Ireland Open for Masters, and got bronze. So that's another milestone. I think it's hard for me to completely quit judo. There's times where I've kind of stopped training or trained only once a week or something and done like focused mainly on nogi, for example. Like what it's usually the big when I have goals, it's the goals. It's the I set a goal. I want to win a
Yeah.
national nogi blue belt or I want to do and then I just go out and I attack the goal. But to me, I don't care too much
Gotcha.
about, oh, you shouldn't cross. Some people to me, you shouldn't cross train this, you shouldn't cross train that. You gotta put your eggs in one basket eventually if you want to hit the heights. And I was like, to be honest, look at my age. I'm not gonna do anything serious in the senior level. I'm too old now. If I was 10 years younger, I would say, yeah, I should put more eggs in one basket and go pro. But I'm just a serious enthusiast. I'm a competitive whatever you want to call me. I don't know. I'm a competitive veteran now,
Yeah.
and I'm happy with that. And I'll still compete to senior into like senior stuff when I can, if I can, and see what happens. But my goals are now mainly veteran success primarily. But I won't
No,
shy
fair
away.
enough.
I won't shy away competing for the young guys because I would say I'm quite fit for my age, and I still give them a run for their money a lot of the time. So
That's,
yeah.
that's fine. You should, I mean, if you can do it, I get that a lot with jiu-jitsu because I'm what am I now 48 now, and there's either no one like my age or my weight. So half the time it's like, okay, right, do you mind moving down? It's like, okay, and there's like some 21-year-old, so it's like, just like UFC man, and they're like, oh, good, but I'll have a go. Got to go for the quick finish.
Oh yeah, like when you know someone's got the physical edge on you, and they're like, yeah, you have to just end the match quickly. There's
Yeah.
no
The
choice.
the strape's still there.
Oh, strength is the last thing to
Speed and
go.
agility, not so much anymore, but the strength's the last thing to go. So I'm holding on to that with two hands at the moment. But get better, get better. But yeah. So you've got so you've got your black belt in judo. You're dabbling in the jiu-jitsu. You know, you got your blue belt. Look, you know, you set yourself maybe a goal getting that purple. Where does sambo come along then? Because that's often most people with judo and jiu-jitsu. That's enough for them to do. But
Yeah.
yet
Well,
you've picked up sambo along the way as well.
I think that's partly to do with my ADHD. I just like I like look anything that is interesting. I will kind of if it's interesting enough because it's related. It's not too much of a stretch, I guess. I mean, I just came along. I came along the Island Sambo Club. So this is the logo.
Yeah, yeah,
Island Sambo Club in Isle of Sheerness. I came across it. I don't know. I think it was Facebook. I think it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was on Facebook on my judo pages. So I'm mainly associated with Medway Park Judo Club is my primary club, and then Faversham Judo Club is like my secondary club in the area of Kent. Um, and then somehow there was a post on Faversham's club or about Island Sambo Club, or I was suggested a page. I don't know. It kind of just sprung up out of
yeah,
nowhere. Or I was looking for a wrestling club, maybe. I think I was looking for wrestling clubs or something in Kent. Or I was always looking what's out there, MMA clubs, whatever. I'm just seeing what's out there, and it just came across it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I messaged whoever was behind the account. I was like, oh, when do you train? Da Sambo seems interesting. And they're like, yeah, come along, it's free. And that's how I met the Belsey brothers. So Casey and Brad, amazing guys. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be where I am with Sambo without them. So kudos to them for creating an amazing club. And there's actually several amazing clubs for Sambo in Kent. I had no idea existed. There's like about five or six, I think. There's actually it's amazing how much there is in Kent for grappling in general, actually. There's quite a pedigree in Kent. There's quite a lineage of wrestlers, British wrestlers as well. I've met some veterans. I mean, veterans like 80-plus-year-old
yeah,
wrestling veterans telling me all their old stories and putting me in holds. And they used to put me in these crazy holds. I'm like, no, 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 please, please. And I'm not going to put it
yeah,
on properly. Ah! I'm literally trying to not to scream. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. Putting me all these crazy. I'm like, what on earth did they learn back then? I don't know. But what it's like sorcery. I don't know this
yeah,
crazy joint manipulation stuff. Anyway, um, getting back to the Sambo. Yeah, I tried it. I was like, oh, this is very much like judo. And they're like, yeah, we're judo players. We're like second dans. We're like ex squad, cadet squad. We're, high level judo guys. I was like, yeah, I can see that. And we just have a passion for sambo. We miss the leg grabs in judo. It's a bit more like old judo. It's just more to it. We like cross training. I'm like, well, sounds up my alley. They sounded like my type of people. It's like, hey, you sound like me. I'm open-minded, like cross training. To me, it's all one thing. It's all one thing. It's grappling.
yeah. That's what I always
It's all
say. It's all
grappling.
branches of the same tree. It's all branches of the same
Exactly.
tree.
Exactly. And I do think it helps. You don't have to cross-train them all equally by any stretch, but to have an open mind of, I'm going to go to a seminar in Sambo. I'm going to go to a seminar in Judo. You just learn some things and they can be applied. They literally anything you learn in Jiu-Jitsu, Sambo, wrestling, Judo, elements of those things can be applied to any of them. It's just having the open mind and see the connections. Yes, some things are much more practical than others. Like, oh well, you're not going to pull guard like the way you do in BJJ and Sambo or in judo, which is true because you can get in Sambo you can be pinned through the guard. You can pin someone in guard, so you're not going to pull guard unless it's a good guard pull with a juji attempt straight from it, like
Yeah,
instant, like a ju. I wouldn't even call it a guard pull. I would call it a juji attack from a if they have a really good collar grip. And if they're really strong, that's the tactic. If they're really strong and you can tell they're not going to let go of the lapel, you drop into the juji straight away. And it forces them to action reaction. But if you're in a judo contest, you're not going to you just can't pull guard the way you can in jiu-jitsu. Obviously, you're going to get penalized. So the rule sets determine the strategy, but the arts themselves they are what they are. They're all effective. They're all effective in their own way. But obviously, they're going to be focused on for certain rule sets. Certain schools are going to focus on certain aspects of it for the performance, high percentage whatever techniques. Um, but it's still useful to learn. It's and for self-defense in general, like the more tools, the better. Like, don't get me wrong, you're not going to learn all the tools equally. You're going to have your favorite things, but it's more of the awareness as well when you're fighting someone else. Ah, I've seen that before. No, you're not doing that. That's where it becomes useful. So that's how I got into Sambo, just kind of by happenstance in a way. And the natural my natural curiosity to always be on the lookout for what's around me in terms of in terms of martial arts. And then they were just such lovely guys. And uh it's kind of far from me. I don't have a car right now, so I had to train and it's not very cheap. So I was only going every Friday because I was still training judo like 3 times a week anyway. But
Yeah.
then when we were like 2 months away, well, 6 weeks away from the British Sambo, I started going twice a week there because they only did Mondays and Fridays. Because I was all in, I was like, yeah, if I'm gonna do a nationals, and again, my focus kind of waned away from. I was doing a bit of MMA as well, weaned away from MMA and a bit less judo and more sambo, but I was still doing at least two times a week judo, 2 times a week sambo because there was no harm at all in doing judo for sambo. I like even when I had all my matches, I was doing like 90% judo really, and occasionally ankle picking someone or at least threatening the fact I was my
Yeah.
stance was different. I was threatening other
I was going to
options.
say that. How was competing in sambo compared to you competed a lot in judo. You've done a bit
Yeah,
in jiu-jitsu. What
yeah.
was it? What changes did you have to make in your sort of sambo competition approach? On the mat, was it, let's say, different stances? Maybe you were saying, or
Yeah. Um, So I had a competition in May of this year, which was the Southeast Open Sambo, which was basically held at Warriors Sambo in Sittingbourne, I believe. Yeah,
Mhm.
Sittingbourne. Um, and I did really well. I got like gold in the veterans and silver in the seniors. And that was just judo, to be honest. I don't think I even touched the leg one time. It was just judo. And I think because my judo was so strong, it just worked. But then
Yeah,
preparing for the British, yeah, I picked up way more stuff. I changed my stuff. I started training against strong Sambo guys and we did training in a way where it's like, okay, you're only allowed to do lower body takedowns. And that's when I had to be like, okay, I got to change my stance. Because I realize if I'm standing too tall, I can't react in time to certain leg attacks.
yeah, level
And I
change the
started
size
training,
of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I started changing my stance so I could leg attack people as well. So I mean, I learned single and double legs in especially in no-gi jiu-jitsu and gi jiu-jitsu as well. So like that's why I like the cross training with jiu-jitsu. If I didn't do the jiu-jitsu training I did for like a whole year intensely, 2022 to 2023, and I did a bit less of judo, my sambo would be worse because I wouldn't have the leg attacks. I wouldn't have so sambo came at the perfect time. I had my judo basically a black belt level more or less going into it, or actually yeah, more or less yeah. Got my black belt as I went into the sambo.
yeah,
I had my year of jujitsu gi and no gi, so my submission wrestling was also good, and that's really a big part of sambo as well. It's basically submission wrestling with a gi on. That's how I feel about sambo. And you take chokes away. With sports sambo, for some reason, you take chokes away. So unfortunately, I can't do the chokes, but it's more wrestling, which yeah, I didn't have to change much because I had that background in submission wrestling.
hmm,
But I learned more and I refined certain. And I was just using ankle picks because judo seemed to flow into ankle picks the best. Because if I start with a grip and dominate that grip, they're occupied not getting thrown. Because if you don't do anything about the grip, you're gonna get thrown by a good judo player. So they're like,
yeah.
holy shit, I don't like this. I don't like this. All right. And I let go of whatever sleeve or lapel and I just go to the ankle
Like an
that's
ankle
closest.
push.
Yeah,
Yeah,
boom, 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 bam, bam. Then done. Simple. Simple stuff. Kept it simple. Really simple. Um, yeah, I just adapted a little bit. It wasn't too big of a no, it really wasn't too big of a deal. And even with the leg locks, I know how to defend leg locks and apply basic leg locks from jiu-jitsu anyway. So the leg locks weren't a problem either. So I got caught by one or two in training, don't get me wrong. Because some of the Sambo guys were good at doing that stuff. But it
yeah,
just prepared me well. That's the thing. I love getting tapped in training. I love getting tapped and pinned and dominant because I'm like, oh, okay, oh, that happened because of this. Thank you, thank you. Because some people get this crazy, they have this crazy ego and they get angry. I used to when I got dominated all the time, not angry, I would say, but frustrated. Then I'm like,
Yeah.
when I understood how good it was to get smashed, like even in judo, repeatedly thrown in the same randori, maybe 5 times straight, bam, 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 how valuable that feedback is. And that's all it is. It's feedback. Losing in training is the best thing you can do. When people train like do
That's how you
sparring,
learn.
yeah, when
To
people
me,
spar like
yeah.
it's the Olympics, there's nothing more that frustrates me than that. I'm literally roll my eyes, sometimes visibly when I probably shouldn't, but in my head at least, I'm like, okay, okay, all right. Like I almost want to let them like win. Sometimes I do just literally go kind of limp if they're just spazzing out. Like you have people they start spazzing even if they're quite like technical. What I've noticed is always the guys that are bigger than me. That's where the ego comes. It's always the bigger guys that are stronger and bigger than me. When I am just controlling them and they get a bit frustrated, then they just turn into the Hulk, and then I'm just like, I just stay in guard, or I just like let them expend their energy. I'm like, you go for it. You waste your energy, man. Even if you end up pinning me one time, fine. Because if I was competing against you, I would just wait until you're gassed, and then I would sweep you. Because we only have a limited amount of time. It's like a 2 minute,
Yeah.
3 minute drill or sparring drill. I'm not gonna use all my energy. There's a whole class left to go. Have fine, pin.
And he got
I
work
don't care.
tomorrow as well. And it's
Yeah, it does. So, but luckily in the Sambo, we have really good training partners. They don't, they're technical and Casey and Brad are incredibly technical. We do a lot of conditioning as well, but obviously the focus is technique because I mean that's what you need to learn. You can go running, you can do conditioning
yeah,
outside of the class. So yeah, it wasn't too bad at all to be honest. And that early success in May gave me some confidence because I thought, oh, Sambo, ooh, ooh. And then because I did so well in the Southeast Open, I was like, okay, I think I do have a chance in the British. And actually, yeah, I lost both bronze medal matches, but that is because the level of competition, obviously, it would
yeah.
massive jump.
That's not bad considering I was only started in March as well. It's just
I got to fight a guy from Geneva, Switzerland, which was amazing. An international young lad. He must have been early 20s, absolute savage. I don't know how he was the same height as me. Oh my God. I barely made, well, I didn't barely make it. I did make it quite, I was very light on the scale, but just to get down in 2 weeks to the 79, under 79 kilograms, I walk around 33, 34 sometimes. So it was like,
yeah,
to make that weight for me, I was like, oh my God. He was just as tall as me. I had no size advantage. And that's why I was like, oh my God, are you serious? This is the guy I have to fight for bronze in my seventh match of the day as well. And he's a young stud. Literally, like he's a stud, and I'm like, oh God, man, this is going to be a tough one. And to be fair, I had some moments, man. I looked at the match back, and I could have. There was a few opportunities to throw, and I had to because I was behind on points. And I'm like, why didn't I pull the trigger? And that's what always eats you up when you look back. Like, why? Just go for it. There's
yeah. But
nothing.
there's always woulda, shoulda, coulda, isn't there? There always is. There's always that
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
I
that's
did.
100%, and that's how you learn. Though. That's how you
Yeah.
learn.
In the first round of the veterans, so I entered veterans and senior because I turned 35 this year, so I was allowed to do both.
Yeah,
I beat the guy who was senior and veterans champion last year in 2024. He was a Russian guy called Stanislav, and I actually beat him. I beat him by points, like to the wire. We just got ahead in the second half of the match, and I just held the lead. He was absolute. Oh my God, the strength. He's oh my God, and oh, for someone so much shorter than me, this he had like this. I couldn't get the grip off. That once he had the grip, I had to just work with it. And I was like, I don't like the fact what grip he has. I have to just posture, do the right thing, remain calm. And luckily, I had the mental fortitude to fend him off for 4 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever it was. And then I had to fight in both semi-finals. I had to fight Dave Diamond, who he's from Faversham Judo Club and Warriors, so he's from the same region. It's very close. But we
yeah,
trained together. So sometimes in the same clubs and he won gold and double gold this year. So I I beat the guy who got double gold last year. I was like, yes. Then I had to fight second round. That Dave lost to him, uh, yeah, by points. It's still a good fight. And then for the bronze match, I had to fight the Russian guy again because someone dropped out from injury. There was a weird bracket thing going. I was like, how did I beat this guy? And I have to fight him for bronze. And then
yeah.
he beat me by like 1 point in the bronze match. So we were 1 for 1, but he ended up with the medal. And I was like, hey, you gotta be fucking It was pissed me
Yeah.
off. Even my coaches were like, "You got a bit hard done there, mate. That was a bit bad luck."
Yeah, that is a bit hard when you say you've already done it. So surely that should have just been like a
Yeah.
walk over. Or yeah, I don't know how it works in that. But yeah, I'd be annoyed at that. I can see your point.
I think yeah, and then I got like I think I got two. I think I got two arm locks. I got two arm locks in the seniors. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got two arm locks against these younger guys. They were very good though. One was a Russian kid, young guy. His stance was way lower, but I was like, I know what you're gonna do. And before he could attack my legs or anything, I kept my stance quite low. Once I got like a good grip, like around the back of the shoulder or whatever, I just controlled it.
Yeah,
He didn't shoot. I was just waiting to shoot, but he knew because I had that grip. If you shoot, I'm just gonna drag you to the ground and
yeah,
unlock you or pin you, or whatever. I pinned him, and then in the last second, he tried to explode, and then I just caught the arm because I knew what was gonna happen. I let him come up a little bit. I gave him space. He shot up with his shoulder, and I just captured it, span, and then Juji Gatami. And the other kid, something similar. But the other, no, the other kid, he was in turtle, but it was just quite a weak turtle, and there was something to expose, and I put my like heel in a gap, just found some space, boom, 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 roll back, threw the leg over, roll back in again, and then but he was defending it. That one was a lot harder. But they give you 20 seconds. It's so good in Sambo. So like they give you 20 seconds once they recognize a painful holds being applied. They give you 20 seconds to work, and I was like, I could take my time. I literally was looking at the clock. I was like, get my grip where I need to, put my arm through here, whatever it is, get
yeah.
through the gap, needs
Wipe that
defend,
arm out.
bring
Yeah,
it off, boom, whatever it is. I can't even teach that because I don't. I'm so bad at remembering sequences. But anyway, I just went through it in my head and I felt it. Had time to feel myself, feel what needed to be done, and then it came off eventually. And then I was lucky because I was actually getting tired in that match because that kid was incredibly strong. And after I got the pin, I was just like wiped out for a second. And then I had to fight Dave so I beat the first two guys, and then I had to fight Dave in the semi-final again. And then he knocked me into the bronze. And then the Russian guy that I lost to in the bronze beat this. I think he beat the Swiss kid, the young man, the international player, and then Dave and Stanislav were in the final, and then Stanislav got silver and Dave got gold. So Stanislav got bronze and silver, and Dave got double gold. Then I had to fight the Swiss kid. And it's like this is the last match of the day. This is the bronze. They're like, this is your moment, Glenn. Like Casey and Brett were like, come on, slap him on the back. I'm like, I'm really tired, but I'm like, yeah, I got a bit of adrenaline.
yeah,
Come on, had my whatever. I had energy drinks. I had all the supplies to fuel me. I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. Nah, he just strategically he got it. He got it really well. He strategically countered me. We had such similar styles as well. We're both tall players, so we were both just. It was like a real chess match. It was like grip fighting, loads of grip fighting, sweeps. Who's gonna overcommit on a sweep that's too far away and get like thrown or counter swept or yeah. I mean, I watched it back. He was great. He was sharp. Like I watched he got two scores on me, and then I think it was like ended up being 7-0 or whatever. But watched it back and I was like, oh yeah, he's good. I mean, I shouldn't have done X, Y, Z, but his timing, like like there wasn't any margin, barely a margin forever. He was like,
yeah.
he's punishing everything I did wrong. So all fair play to him. But then I did look on the replays and oh, I could have definitely picked him up there. There's one time where I can't remember. He went for a sweep or something. He was too close to me, and then I grabbed his leg, and I should have like Tigarumi'd him. I should have really just committed him, but got the leg out too quickly. But if I just didn't think, I was overthinking at that moment. If I just didn't, and that's what my coaches always say to me. And if I listen to them more, or just able to apply their philosophy, they say just feel, don't think, like Bruce Lee, no mind. You can't have a mind out there. You've done all the training and preparation. There's no more learning and thinking. There's just doing. And then when I look back at the replays, if I applied that philosophy right then, I actually could have been the one to score before him, and that changes everything, the match, right? Once you're leading, it's just like football, it's like any sport. Once you're leading, the psychology changes completely. Especially if you score
Yeah.
in this, if you score in the second half of a contest, oh my God, the psychology is completely different. it's all in your favor because you're like, if you're overextending, you're mine. And if I keep the pressure on, just as much as you without overextending, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Anyway, that's enough of the British Sambo Open. It was great. It was great. It was good. We got
That's
these
good.
jerseys. We got these fleeces and shirts printed like a few weeks before. They came just in time. So that's the logo of the martial arts school, Jolie Martial Arts, and that's the
The
Island
islands,
Club.
yeah,
Island.
that's it,
That's why
aren't
it's got
they?
like
Yeah.
palm. It's got palm trees, which is cool because it's the Isle of Sheerness. It's quite a cool idea that they came up with there. But
I
yeah,
like it. I
no,
like it.
I'm
So
definitely
where now then? You're sort of at this weird crossroads of
yeah.
judo, BJJ, your sambo, your MMA. Sort of, what's next? Where's that? Have you got that bucket list of that type? You talked about
Uh
maybe like the purple belt in jiu-jitsu. You talked about like
yeah.
maybe
There
the
is
stacking
definitely a
down or
bucket.
whatever. What's next for you? What's on your hit list?
I probably need to be a bit. I mean, as I've gone on, I have been a bit more selective and careful because I realize I can't just be just doing whatever I impulsively kind of feel like. I'm a bit of an impulsive person, and that's maybe a bit of ADHD and my personality. But um, the next logical step for me is just doing nationals. Honestly, like it's just the level I'm at. So for Sambo, I'm definitely going to do the national again because it's like, well, honestly, even if I don't train much Sambo and do Jiu-Jitsu, like Nogi, for example, pick that up again, get my purple belt, get my second dan in judo. I think I can enter, not necessarily have a better chance, but I can enter and do well because the jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu is very similar to groundwork sambo, like leg locking, pinning, controlling people. Judo is always about pinning, it's always about scoring, standing. But sambo is like most of it was scoring standing. When I saw I watched the British Open, obviously, I watched it. Most of it was judo. I would say it was like 80% judo in terms of the scoring, like what was being scored, like the way people were winning. It's like they're just doing judo mostly. So I don't think I have to like focus on Sambo unless I want to compete internationally in Sambo. I think my national goals and my general goals are just to keep doing Sambo, supporting this club and helping them grow the club. So in terms of Sambo, I want to help grow it. With the two brothers, with the Belsey brothers and their dad. Because I don't know, they just were so welcoming. They really took me under their wing. They saw my enthusiasm. We have a really strong connection. We feel like a team already. It's only been since March this year or whatever that I was associated with them or first met them. But it's been a hell of a year, and we're all collectively excited to grow Sambo. And for me, Sam, if I had to choose like one art, it would probably be Sambo. Either Sambo or Nogi Jiu-Jitsu. Those two, if I had to choose, and everyone who knows me, if they probably they will all watch this, they're gonna go, "What are you talking about? You're a judo player. Black belt. How can you betray judo?" This is the problem. It does become tribalistic sometimes. But anyway, I digress. The tribalism. It's because Sambo incorporates so much of judo and also wrestling, and it resembles old school judo much more closely. Apart from the chokes that aren't allowed. Okay, sure, but overall it represents the old school judo, the original Kodokan rule set, at least, or the techniques available. At least the techniques you can actually. That's the irony. You can do much more judo in sambo. So that's the irony. That's why, and I don't want to speak for them, but that's why the two brothers, they want to do more sambo. They also want to train judo. They want to run their own judo club, but they can kind of do this both of them at the same time. They can do sambo and judo because they're so closely linked. They're inextricably linked because sambo comes from Russia's adoption of judo, and then they're throwing in their own little bits of wrestling and their own sort of unarmed combat techniques from the Russian military, right? So yeah, I think Sambo is the focus in terms of promoting and growing, and I'm excited to something that is grassroots and doesn't have like too much centralized, bureaucracy and it's exciting. It's like it's growing, and the Sambo Open was an amazing event. Like the quality of some of the players was really high. I'm like, these guys could be good, like really good judo players, but it was actually really exciting to watch the Sambo because people were grabbing legs, people were doing all these other techniques. It was a little bit more dynamic sometimes. With the gi, it can be very rigid, still like judo sometimes, but I don't know. It's something different, and it's just it is more dynamic because there's two different general heights. There's two general sorry, two general areas of attack, an upper body attack and a lower body, and the way you can chain them together is like it opens a whole new world for me and other people. I think like, it's opening a whole new door to a whole new like system, a whole new way of expressing like judo or grappling. And it's not just judo, it's just grappling. It's like almost a full expression of grappling. It's submissions, there's pins, there's wrestling, there's more flow. You don't get penalized for keeping a certain grip. Like in judo, there's a kind of, what's the word? Too many restrictions with the rule set become really frustrating. You have to do judo in a certain style. I guess the Jap kind of more Jap the mat they kind of want it more like Japanese style upright judo, very traditional. I get it. Like they want it to have a brand. They want judo to have a brand and it visually look a certain way to the spectator. And it is, don't get me wrong, high level judo is spectacular to watch sometimes when but at the same time the rules allow for really boring matches. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like I've seen judo matches that put me to sleep, literally put me to sleep, and I've
Yeah.
seen judo matches where the spectacular throw happens and you're like in the back of your chair like what, and you're watching it in slow motion. It's literally like opera. It's like visual opera. It's like this harmony of these two bodies flying through it. It's
Technique of it all, yeah, and the beauty of the technique.
ah
Now, I tell you, yeah. Where do you see yourself in the fact that there are a lot of different kind of grappling tournaments and no gi sort of submission only tournaments and things like that, sort of doing the rounds now and coming out, and they also, to be fair, it seems to be a good way now of people almost, you could almost, if you want to put in the miles, that could be a career in itself. If you're traveling around the country or around the world doing it, is that something that interests you to sort of test your skills, or do you prefer to stay in like your different rule
ah
sets? Because there's all these sort
like
of sub only competitions and
oh,
different
okay, yeah,
organisations and grappling
yeah,
things and all that.
yeah, yeah.
How do you
There is
feel on those?
there's a lot going on. There's a lot. It's mainly no gi from what I've seen. So a lot of the people also in gi jiu-jitsu, I was unbeaten for quite some time, at least 6 months in the gi jiu-jitsu. And no gi actually. I think from from around May 2022 till September, I was unbeaten in like quite a few competitions. And then the guys I've lost to since doing jiu-jitsu, literally every single one of them is like a sponsored purple belt now. These young guys.
Yeah.
I lost to like a 19-year-old, then I lost to like an 18-year-old, then I lost to like a 20-year-old or whatever. And they're all like literally every single one of them are like traveling to Europe. One of them has just gone to the European Nogi recently. Oh God, they try to travel everywhere. ADCC opens. Some of them have won money. Some of them got sponsorships. Some of them kind of growing on social media. There's a lot going out there. For them, the world's seemingly their oyster. For me, I probably could get more involved in the, I don't know, maybe I don't know, competing wise, I don't think there'd be like that much money and attention for the veterans, like the 35 and up kind of age group. It's all about senior. And I think with no gi, it's such a specialized way of fighting. I've trained with some very high level no gi guys, and honestly, it's the leg locks that I'd have to put a lot of time in leg locks
Yeah.
defense.
But there seems to be a lot more as well of just as a submission only thing as well. So it's not
Um,
necessarily the no gi kind
okay.
of.
Oh,
what shall I
like
say this?
knee
The
submissions and
let's sit down and move towards each other. And they, it's actually like a stand up
ah,
takedown submission sort of style as well.
like yeah, there's an extra prize money for like fastest submission. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen
and
these.
stuff
Some
like that.
if you get the fastest submission of the day, you get X amount of money. If you get the best submission, or if you get multiple submissions, yeah.
Yeah,
Sub. I did a few sub onlys. I've done only a few, and that's one of the guys I lost to in the. I think he was my first round opponent, but then he ended up winning the whole thing, or he was they went to a sudden death thing. It was the 10 minutes expired
yeah,
and it was him and his mate from the same gym. And then he's now like a purple belt doing the European purple belt nogi that I think just happened. I can't remember the result of it, but yeah, and he's sponsored by Scramble and yeah, I've done that before. And we had a great match. I actually dominated. I know Amir might watch this. You're better than me. I'm not saying you're like I'm better than you, but I dominated a large portion of the bout, and then I made a mistake putting on a terrible Ashigarami ankle lock attempt. It wasn't. I just messed it up terribly. I messed it up completely. I thought it was the right time, but I either did something wrong in terms of securing the leg or timed the entry wrong, and he just got up and then took my back from it, and then yeah, I got
that's
some.
all it takes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all it takes is one mistake, exactly. But he's a great kid, and he's a blue belt as well at the time, and but again, my judo was like, and my clinch game was what was helping me dominate most of the standing exchanges, at least. The standing exchanges I was absolutely dominating because my judo's, well, that's judo. My judo was better in that sense. And some of my scrambles were quite good. I did like knee and my guard passing, I have like this like a shallow knee cut kind of technique that I just do naturally and it was working. And certain things were like I don't know. Positionally, I was just a lot of the scrambles and the 50-50s I was getting. I couldn't find he was defensively great once he was in a worse position because I think his coaches are really like technical because I couldn't find an arm or a limb or a neck. And I was never very good as a sub. I was not really a submission artist. I was winning by points a lot. I did get a few submissions, but I was never a submission specialist in jiu-jitsu. I was
Yeah,
just dominating the position. I would always get on top. I would always get this first takedown. I would always and
yeah,
just
dominate and go for it. Yeah, that's
dominate.
fair enough.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair enough.
So that's why I'm not that confident, like going for the sub only stuff until I specialized to train jujitsu and learn and be a monster in terms of like, okay, I got this position now. I know how to force this position. And there's these three options, main three options they have. It's very it's so systematic. Like high level jujitsu is so systems based. It's like once I get you in half guard and then I do this, this, and this. From this position, then you have two or three options. This is the first best option hypothetically. Then this is the second best option. Da, da, da. And certain players are going to go for this and this and this. And it's so systems, and you can study it like a freaking degree. Like it's so intricate,
Yeah,
the ground game. I'm not saying judo isn't intricate or whatever. Judo is more repetitive. Definitely, it's way more drill. Boom, boom, boom. Speed, speed, power, entry. Boom. It's very technical too, but it's not as systematic, really, the way it's taught at least. It probably is a system, but it's not as systematic as like BJJ. BJJ, like high level on the ground, is so systematic. It's like I've only scratched the surface, so it would take me at least I would say 2 years minimum, or at least a year, absolute minimum of complete focus on creating my own systems to get high probability subs,
yeah,
high percentage subs. Because in terms of my wrestling, my fundamentals, they're there. They're there. Like the grappling fundamentals are there, but it's the submission, specialism, systematic, having a submission system to set up high percentage submissions. I I need to that take a lot of time to develop. I could go into a sub a no a no sub only you know, blue belt tournament right now, I'll have a go. I'll probably do all right, to be honest. But
yeah,
to make it a profession and win the prize money that I would have to completely. It's when you're talking about money and that level, you need utter dedication. It's don't get me. It's interesting. I saw those adverts and be like, oh yeah, I would like to do that. I would like to do it for money. But I think actual profession in life is probably going to be something that's not martial art based, just for the stability of it and
Yeah.
the yeah. But I'm always
No,
going to
I
be involved.
totally get you.
I'm always going to be
No.
involved, but if an opportunity comes, like I'm definitely going to go into teaching. So that's already good in the works. That's already like a thing I'm developing. I'm going to go into martial art teaching and teach it in some way and give back in some way, because it's really important for me personally to give back and give opportunities, like I create opportunities like I was given, because I think that is just the way it should be, or the way it needs to be. Otherwise, how are we going to have these communities continue to thrive? So that's one of my goals, is to coach and teach. And if I
Yeah.
can have a successful school that I can actually make um some decent profit from, and I can transition from X profession to full-time martial art kind of school institution, and it's under my name, or
Yeah.
then I get enough return from it, then I'll happily like make that my life. But that's a long-term project. That's like way, 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 way
Yeah.
down the line. Yeah.
That's fair enough. Where do you see then, sort of the final question? With all, I mean, obviously, I mean, you've crossed over different worlds of grappling with your judo, the BJJ, the sambo, the wrestling, the MMA sort of stuff you've been doing, and with all this sort of, there does seem to be sort of a grappling boom, dare we say it, at the moment. Like I say, we got all different tournaments, and UFC have got UFC BJJ now, and there seems to be, it's becoming a bit of an alphabet soup of tournaments and organisations and all sorts of this and
Mm.
that grappling and whatever else. I mean, where do you see it sort of heading, maybe from your experience? Because is it all just going to sort of cross over even more, or do you think each thing's going to just go off on its own branch, or where do you see it going as it
Interesting.
is?
Yeah. Speaking of judo, I should have this confirmed, but I'm gonna trust the sources I have. There was talk about UFC judo, because there's UFC BJJ as like a sub product or a
Yeah,
branch of the UFC brand. There's UFC BJJ, and there's like titles and everything now, and obviously like contracts and prize money and tournaments, which is really cool. To associate with such a powerful brand is a smart move for any sport to get
yeah,
involved in. And supposedly BJJ, UFC judo was sort of like an offering. There was a possibility for it, but it fell through, and it was based actually. The connection was based from like some UK organizer, like it was a UK it was of UK original influence
yeah.
to start this UFC judo, which would have been like insane. Even if it was no gi judo, like I don't know what, I have no idea. Like I don't have all the insights what it would have looked like.
Mm.
Obviously, it should have been with the gi ideally, because I mean it's judo. But even if it was no gi judo, that would have been so cool, because it would make sense actually, because you have no gi BJJ. We all know, it's not to say there's not going to be any standing, but we all know where it's going to end up. And
Yeah,
if you have players like Mikey Musumeci, I love him, by the way, not criticizing him, who but scoot around, they're good, the guard players, okay, they're bottom players. You know what's going to be expected, and there's different tastes for different people. If you're a more of a stand-up judo kind of guy or a wrestler, you like to see like the actual takedowns and the exchanges and the scrambles. You know, people who actually want to dominate the position like from the get-go, not like have that snail scooting towards each other kind of approach.
yeah,
That makes perfect sense, even with no gi, because you're going to see loads of judo, you're going to see loads of wrestling, high velocity takedown attempts. Because if it was scored around just takedowns, it could have just been even UFC, call it UFC judo or UFC wrestling,
mm,
whatever. I don't know what you'd call it. I don't know what the best brand would have been in terms of branding it, but a system that is a game that is about takedowns. You can also have like the option for subs, maybe like, okay, well, you can win by submission, but you can win. It's very focused around being able to win on point scoring for takedowns. That would have been hella. That would have been really exciting, to be honest. From a wrestling and judo perspective, like, and they work together. I mean, judo, no-gi judo is literally like it's just wrestling in a clinch. It's especially if you allow if the and the rule set, I'm sure it would have allowed leg grabs. It would have been like old school judo. It would have just been like just wrestling. It would have been wrestling, but
You just made a good point there. It's got me thinking as well. You're saying about the points and making it exciting. What do you think the grappler needs? Because I mean, UFC, you got the UFC BJJ. There's all these other tournaments that are going around there. You got your Polarises and
yeah,
your other
yeah,
no gis, etc., which are all doing a great job, by the way. I'm not
yeah,
telling
yeah,
anyone,
yeah,
hopefully.
yeah, yeah.
But what does it need for the general public to care? Do you think? Because
Mm,
I will show it without, like, for instance, like my lovely girlfriend. I will show her something and explain it, and even UFC sometimes, and I'll watch it and I'll go, "This is one you got to watch. This will be the one that makes you like it." And she'll go, "There's just two blokes holding each other on the floor for 20 minutes. Why do you watch this? This is,
ah,
and it's that sort of thing, and that's that general
yeah.
public kind of thing. The UFC BJJ. There's a friend of mine watched that, and he was like, I'd have kicked both of them in the head by now as they're like scooting towards each other. What does that thing need? How does that grapple? I mean, they've even got that real American freestyle wrestling that Hulk Hogan
Oh
was sort of
yeah,
being a spokesperson for. Now they're trying to boost the freestyle back up in America
that's
as well.
cool.
Before
That's
Hogan
cool.
was like a figurehead, I think, before he passed away. And they're trying all these different things, but nothing's quite grabbing the audience. What do you think it needs, or grappling needs
Ooh,
in general, maybe, to get people to sort of switch on, in the way
yeah,
they do to
good
maybe a
question.
UFC or a WWE or whatever else.
Yeah, wow, that's quite a good question. I'm trying to think the easiest way I think to frame it without coming across a bit offensive to any of these attempts
With all respect
or
as well, I'm not
companies.
offending anyone.
Yeah, yeah, with all respect, is
There's
like
only 50 people trying to kill me.
where have they well it's about perception as well because
Yeah,
where have you could frame it as where have they failed, but is it that the fact that they've failed or is it the fact that the public simply aren't on board because they're not educated enough to appreciate it?
could be an education side of it. Yeah,
That's definitely a factor because anyone who knows grappling, don't get me wrong, there's boring moments in like some wrestling matches, some
yeah,
judo matches,
oh,
there's
100%.
boring moments with nothing. We know ourselves. The only time those positions are exciting is when you're in the match yourself and you're like your brain's calculating all these nuances. That's the only time those things are exciting. When you're even as an educated spectator, sometimes if there's really not much going on and they are kind of just locked in a position and they're both playing chess in their mind, that okay, what's the next
Yeah,
move? What am I looking out for now? And there's literally not much going on. It's actually going on in their heads, and that's why it's boring. They're making calculations, and unless you have some sort of intuition what's going to happen, you're not on the edge of your seat going, when's the
yeah,
sweep? Where's the knee tap? Where's this happening? Oh, there's going to be a flare of the elbow. He's going to duck under. He's going to, whatever it is that you can anticipate. If you're not educated, it literally just looks like they're doing sod all. Um, so education's a part of that.
No,
uh,
I agree.
there's no way to make that exciting unless you're educated. So that's the separation, in my opinion, from being excited by it in a way. But that's why I don't want to say failure because I think the production value of a lot of these events are amazing. I think the commentary is great. Again, can they change the language to suit the layman? I don't know how much you can dumb down certain things. I think you can use certain terminology that's like a bit more less jargon,
Just give it
but
an example. I mean, they had the sumo thing at the Royal Albert Hall
oh
recently,
yeah, that's
and it
cool.
and it got
Really cool.
annoying by the end of the fifth day though, because they had about half an hour at the beginning of each program, which was pretty much the same because it was live, where they went through the rules and the people and the thing, and it was great. But I'd like to think that by episode four, anyone that was still watching it, they should have just sort of said, if you need the rules, go back and watch your, because then it became a
Yeah.
bit more. But I get it because every episode is someone's first episode, so I get it, but they did put a good job in there. But it was literally like you could skip like the first 40 minutes and then the fights would start. But that
It's a
was
bit
their
of a
way, I
trade-off.
suppose.
Everything's a trade-off, though, isn't it? It's like, well, if we
Oh
don't put
yeah,
the reminder of the rule sets in every episode, no one who's new that episode will know what the hell was going on.
yeah,
Although I would say it's not even necessary because I watched the first time I watched sumo, I didn't know the rules and I found it intriguing in general. Like, I don't think you need to know the rule set to like find it interesting. You know, I think it's one of those things you'll see it, you'll be like, what's going on? And if you're curious, if someone's curious, they find the rules themselves. I think
yeah,
explaining rules and all that stuff, it needs to be very minimal. Because you're bored if too over explaining anything in life in general. Over explaining anything gets tedious. So I think let it speak for itself sometimes, you know, like
yeah,
unless there's something absolutely key that you need to know. I think you can have specialized commentators who explain things as the action happens. You could have a commentary channel. What would be a good idea is having a separate commentary channel for like uh, a new audience, new member, like people who are new to the sport. You could have a separate commentary who's not full of jargon and they're literally like
yeah,
now this has happened like when they come together. This is happening because it is what the summers do.
yeah,
They're doing a ceremonial thing. It's about the spirits and the cult, whatever. Like, you don't
yeah.
have to say that every time for an experienced audience member. They don't want to be condescended. They don't want to be inadvertently, you know,
Yeah, so
insulted.
and they get repetitive very quickly on it. It's for
Yeah.
them as well.
Yeah.
They've been there.
Whereas if you have
That's
a
their
separate
20th
commentary,
year of watching sumo.
yeah. Whereas if you have a separate commentary team that are specialize in communicating to a new audience, that's an option. So I think it's more about problem solving rather than, oh, you're doing this bad, you've completely
Yeah,
failed in this area. It's tweaking. I think that, to be honest, I think it is on the verge of like, I do think it's on the verge of exploding. I think a lot of people have said, jujitsu especially because it's so grassroots, it's so big in the grassroots, it's so big. The young people, every other teenager seems to be doing BJJ. That it's just a matter of time till it explodes. Because when enough money is there, when enough attention and eyes are there, when you create, some superstars, when you have the right production, the marketing, the right personalities, it's like lightning in a bottle. It's like UFC. UFC was quite dead in the water, not dead in the water, but it wasn't really that hyped up outside of America. It was big in America,
yeah,
but outside of America, it was. And then when you had certain people come along, like John Jones is the greatest of all time. He's really great, but he didn't capture the audience like McGregor. And I'm not promoting or advocate or going against McGregor. It's just a fact. You get the right personality at the right time, lightning in a bowl. Boom.
100%. Yeah, it
So
goes through all sports. I mean,
it's going to be the same for this.
even Big Daddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And
He
it's like,
sold out every building he was in. People often moan about his athletic prowess and his wrestling skills, but the bottom
yeah,
line was she put a name on he put his
yeah,
name on the poster and it sold out. Conor
yeah, yeah.
McGregor's the same. Put his name on those pay per view money triples or doubles or whatever. You were making money off that name, and it was maybe that's what it. Yeah, maybe that is the answer. You need to the athlete leading the people to the sport, maybe, or the personality.
I think so. I think you know what it is. It's just common denominator. It's like there has to be levels of entertainment that transcend the sport. That's what Conor McGregor brought. He wasn't explaining MMA to people. He was far from it. He was being Conor McGregor. So
Yeah,
and that's the problem. That's a that doesn't work very well with certain martial arts where I don't know for whatever reason the personalities aren't there. People are told to be respectful. People are told to tone down themselves, or they just attract quiet, kind of introverted people. Like there isn't that many rash martial arts because to be a martial artist, you kind of naturally be humbled. I think McGregor, does have that within him, or he used to at least, and
yeah,
be humble. But he saw the opportunity because he was a humble guy. Like if you see him when he's young, he's quite a humble guy.
yeah,
Like he understand. He was a true martial artist, and then he kind of the ego took over and he ran with it, and just again, there's pros and cons to everything. Do we want our martial arts to become bloody, soap operas in a way,
yeah.
exactly.
No, I get what you mean. It's the same, like boxing. Ali was the same. He was just sort of. I think my favorite Ali thing. I think it was the Johnny Carson show, and it was him and Joe Frazier on there. Michael Parkinson was a guest, as for a change rather than being a chat show host in America. And he was on about how he was going to make orphans of Fraser's children and a widow, make his wife a widow and all this sort of thing. And Michael Parkinson just sat and said, he goes, like, Mohammed, he goes, you've been on my show. You're a really nice man. He said, how can you sit here next to him and just say that to him? He went, I got 40,000 tickets to sell, Michael. And it was
Exactly.
just like,
Yeah.
and even Joe Fraser's even sort of smirking a bit, like, because I'm getting half that money. He's not stupid either. And it is, yeah, maybe that's what it, as
It's
much
the fight
as,
business. I think
martial arts
I
is
think
a
it needs
discipline. I think you got to sort of, if you want to get there, you need a little bit of glitz and glamour, maybe.
rocket fuel. Yeah. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
about human nature and attention. It's all about attention, what grabs attention. You can't. That's why everything now is the attention industry. Everything now is it's all about attention. In to the extent where I actually get really pissed off. It's like an invasion of your senses. Well, boom, boom, whatever is coming at you, like
it's
when you're on
now.
your
It's
phone.
like
It's too
I've never not
much.
needed to know so much about everyone. I don't need to know what every martial art. Years ago when you sort of follow people on Instagram, it was great because you'd see a bit of their training routine or something they're working on, and now it's like they're what they're for breakfast, what they're doing now,
Oh,
what socks
yes.
they've
You
got
know
on
what?
today, and
Absolutely.
then
Absolutely.
there's that whole bit about wanting to be taken as a serious martial artist, and then we're doing squats in the gym and booty shorts and whatever. Hey, if it gets you hits, I guess that's what it is now. It's a social media martial arts world now, I think, and
Yeah, this is the th yeah, I agree with you. And it's not even always just the oh let me do this fad thing, let me do this stupid thing, let me do whatever it takes to get attention. I mean
yeah,
it's also there'll be some legitimate here's this technique, here's this throw sequence, here's this, but then some obnoxious music with it. I'll literally just cringe. I'm like, I'm watching, I'm really interested, and I hear like bum 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 wob wob wob, like wobs dubstep and just some
yeah,
crazy invasion of my like senses of my ears. I'm just like my ears are just like, oh my God, what is that? Turn it off. And then the actual judo or whatever it is fantastic, and it's like, what? I just have to hit the mute button straight away. I'm like, oh God. But you know what I mean? I just after hearing that, I just want to instantly get off Instagram or whatever because it's just
yeah.
it's so obnoxious, and it's the opposite of what martial arts is. Or like someone will do a throw and then they'll do like that skull face, which is supposed to be mean like, oh my God, that's so intense and amazing. It's just cringe. It's like it's supposed to have a certain amount of dignity and don't people can do what they want. It's just can't we
I mean, if
just
it's
stick
working for
to
them, fair play. But yeah, maybe I'll just sort of think maybe it's not for me that bit. That's
It's the it's
now.
especially the younger generation are catching on to it, the
Yeah,
younger martial artists. I mean, speaking of personalities as well, Gordon Ryan is one of those guys who actually did bring eyes outside of jiu-jitsu because he's such a controversial guy. And he knows it what he's
he's
doing as well. And I do think
he's smacking
I
it.
wouldn't say we should have loads of people like that because then it does become a what's the word? It becomes it stains martial arts a little bit. I agree with Mikey
Yeah, well,
Musumeci.
as I say, then that's when it becomes a playground, and
Yeah.
you get all these people that are more known for what they're saying rather than what they're doing, and then people don't even know
But he, yeah, because
what they're,
because he's
people
unbeaten
forget
in
they
all.
were martial artists.
Yeah, the thing is exactly. But people because he is so great, he actually, yeah, people want to at least engage with him to some degree because he's the best. He's undefeated. I think he realizes that he has the voice he has. He can act the way he acts because he talks the talk and walks the walk. And that's same
Yeah,
with Ali. They got away, not got away with it. You can buy into it because
what they achieved. Yeah,
they're doing what they do what they say they're gonna do. And same with McGregor. I'm gonna knock him out in the whatever, and he kind of went on gone and he did what he said. And then when
yeah,
he the later McGregor was like everyone was like, okay, yeah, because now you're doing all this and you're not actually doing much. So I think it's okay to have personalities as long as there's still integrities, as long as people aren't, I don't know, slapping each other like outside of the match. And that happened with Gordon Ryan and some other Brazilian guys. Like, what's going on?
yeah,
Like slapping each other and like it's like WWE. But the upside is it brings attention. but does it actually bring people wanting? I don't think it brings people wanting to get into the art. And oh, I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because I saw Felipe Pena slap Gordon Ryan or go whichever way around it was. That's not gonna get. That's not what. It's just like people know that it makes them more famous. You know what I mean? So I think what the sport needs is not necessarily drama. I just think it does need more, maybe more like passion, or at least you know what it needs. It needs documentaries of the athletes and try to show how interesting martial artists
Yeah,
are as
what they're
people.
doing, what they're overcoming, how they're
Human
training, and what
element,
it
the
means.
human
Yeah,
element behind it, because then people go, oh, and if the guy has autism or he has ADHD or he has this or he, and then there's the kid who maybe not into martial arts sees that and goes, oh, his background was like this. I can be like him. I think we need to humanize them, the athletes, especially the elite ones that people can look
yeah.
up to, and try to promote the people who are like generally wholesome people. Like I wouldn't say if like Gordon Ryan was the face of Polaris. I hypothetically, I wouldn't promote him necessarily if I own that company, even if he's going to make me a lot of money. Because I mean, I would still let him fight, but I wouldn't want to do like the documentaries on him and all this stuff. It, because it's not a good example. I feel like a lot of people will be put off by him and be like, well, this sport, is promoting the wrong type of people. So I think if you get the right kind of media crew, the right kind of media exposure on the right kind of people, I think that's how you can grow it to a wider audience. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people are interested in people's stories, not just the sport. There's so many people who watch football and basketball and this and that, not because they find it the most exciting sport in the world, because they actually like the culture around it. So I think it
I'd
needs to.
100% agree with that. Actually, I think that's why all these what they call, your bake-offs and all that, like because people start watching it once because it's on, and then they want to see Doris make a lovely sponge in the final and win, and then oh, she's on again. There's come on, Doris, or all these shows now they're like basically the same format where whatever skill it is, someone goes home every week. There's a baking one, there's a sewing one, there's a cooking one. People I think get hooked onto that person and tune in every week. And I think you're right there. I think that's that formula. People adopt that person. Wimbledon's the same. It's on for 2 weeks. No one cares about tennis, but people start watching it sorry, the
Okay.
people that don't care about tennis, correct myself, because people do like it, obviously. But and then they go, oh, I like him. I'm gonna, where's he on today? Oh, yeah, he's through. And then the
Yeah,
Olympics as well. I remember sitting up till
absolutely.
whatever time it was, watching some Scottish ladies chuck something down some ice, and people clean the ice, the hurling. And for about 2 days, I was a massive expert in hurling, but it soon went after the Olympics did. But
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
got hooked in, you followed it. No, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think you're right there. I think that's where it is. I think it's on the
Which
athlete.
which just reminds me, like a really good idea would be to do sort of like a World Cup BJJ thing and have teams in weight categories, just like judo team tournaments, but with BJJ. And imagine like you have like the English one or the UK one, so you have a kit like red and white and red for English or Scotland. Even a Commonwealth one, you could do a UK one, Scotland versus Wales versus like a nations one. Just like everything that already exists in sports, you can apply it to like a jiu-jitsu or judo format. And even with judo, we need like a Premier League. Like there's a Bundesliga in Germany for judo, where every uh major city or club or whatever the team, they have their own gi, and it's a color of like a football kit. Like it might be a red
Okay,
and
I didn't know that.
blue. So when they fight, it's like you literally have the team's colors. And then the fans can wear like you need to get people involved. Again, it's creating a culture, not just this is the martial art. They step onto the mat, you have a ref, they go bing bing, and then it needs fuel. It needs like creativity. It needs ideas. It needs ways that people who are not athletes, who don't compete, who aren't that interested in like all the intricacies, but it's the culture and the environment of being at a live event. It's the excitement of a live event. It's the people like buying the jerseys. They like talking something to talk about in the morning. Oh, did you see Michael Jordan and or
Yeah,
whoever it is? And if you have superstars in those kind of teams, for grappling, yeah, okay, that's like the big picture. That's like the end goal. That's like, but to get there, you need to start small, and it's the same concepts though. You need like local, for example, for Ken Sambo, you could have a Kent league because if there's like 5 or 6 teams, and then it could be a team tournament even once a year to start with. And then if you do it correctly, if you run the events the best you can, and it can take off a bit, then you can do it like you can do monthly fixtures, and that's what football and sports is, though, isn't it? It's constant to keep
Yeah.
people hooked, and it has to be a constant, whatever people
There's a
like.
prize or a relegation at the end to
It's
keep it exciting
yeah,
and all that sort of, yeah.
and it's supply and demand. If they like something, you got to keep supplying it. If it's like, oh, that's once a year, oh, it's done, attention goes. It's sustaining attention, keeping eyes on it, and that's what I'm not a marketing expert by any stretch of the imagination, but you need to create a culture, you need to create a brand with that culture. So culture and brand. And you got to tie it all together intricately, and that's the hardest part of it. But that's what it's missing something, isn't it? It's like the professionals are there, the level of skill is there, the dedication is there, the production's quite good, generally speaking, from what I've seen. The passion is there, the effort is there. It's just marketing expertise, neuro, like the neuroscience, the psychology behind what hooks people. It's the marketing mechanisms that need to be put in place, in my opinion, to summarize it
That's
to me.
brilliant. Now, I think we'll copyright that as well. So when everyone steals it from us after this, we'll get a kickback.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, no, that's brilliant. I mean, that's a really good one to sort of end on there, where we've just sort of planned the future of the sport out now. If anyone is listening to this and they think, right, I want to get Glenn on for a seminar, or I want to book him, or maybe I want to go and train where he trains, what's the best ways for people to get hold of you, to contact you?
The best way, my Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's just at Glen Bratke hyphen Smith. Um, Also my
Put
Facebook
that in the show
page.
notes as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and my Facebook page. That's pretty much it, to be honest. Just those two points of contact. Send me a direct message about anything you're curious about. And it doesn't even just have to be seminars, whatever. Just I'm happy to talk to people about martial arts in general, like just network. Yeah, I'm happy to network with people, happy to work with people. I'm all ears. So yeah, hope to hear from
Oh, that's
anyone in the future
brilliant.
who's interested.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time this evening for joining us. It's
No
been a
problem.
pleasure to have you on.
It's my pleasure, Brett. Thank you so much. Hope to have you see you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn, for taking time to join us this week on the Grapple of Your Eye show. I have been your host, Brett Summers, and that's bringing this week's episode to a close now. So if you want to keep up to date with everything we're doing, all our past episodes, all our links, all our social medias, the whole lot, you can check out our mothership, which is the grappleofyoureye.com. In the meantime, you can follow us all week on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on all of them. So please give us a follow and maybe some shares. Now, if you like to watch our podcasts, a new episode drops every Thursday at 7 a.m. UK time on YouTube, so you can watch it there, or you can listen along at the same time on Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, and all the various podcast apps that are out there. Basically, if there's a podcast out, we'll be on it somewhere. So please give us a like, please give us a share, a follow, and even some reviews. These things really do help us. There's a lot of competition out there these days in wrestling and grappling and martial arts podcasts. So every little bit you do really helps us sort of climb up out of the mire of mediocrity and into the golden land of grapple heaven. So, yeah, give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share. It does make a huge difference to us. So, as I say, that is this week's episode drawing to a close now. I'll be back next week with another guest. So, stay safe and stay on the mats.